I have to apologize. There's a birthday party going on in my building. So if you hear some laughter and all that stuff, people are eating cake and being merry. So what we will do first is an acknowledgement of country. First, I'll have to put in the presentation. There we are. So the acknowledgement of country, I'll do that first. I pay my respects to the First Nation elders, past, present, and emerging across the many lands where Charles Sturt University campuses, students and staff are located. In particular, I acknowledge the Wiradjuri, Ngunnawal, Gundungurra, and Biripi peoples. I also pay my respects to any First Nation colleagues in this session today. So what we have today is 4 presentations of 10 minutes each. The first presentation is by Monica Short, celebrating differences and generating engagements through satellite skill-based intensive in a regional university. The second presentation by Isabel Payton is supporting first year SAHES students. I'm not sure whether I pronounced it correctly. Doa Anafi will talk about retention, satisfaction, and success in a micro-session model of learning, cross-sectional survey of students and staff. And then the last presentation will be by Susie Currell, who will talk about unmasking the future of caring for older people. And apologies if I pronounce any of your names incorrectly. I've got a difficult name myself, so I know how it works. Basically, we have 10 minutes to speak. Trudy will be our technical wizard, so to speak, and turn on the presentations. We have 10 minutes per presentation. Trudy will give a green card for 1 minute, and I'll probably say something as well. And we go straight from presentation in presentation, and we have questions in the end. So please, if you have your questions, put them in the chat or write them down. And in the end, we can, I'm not sure whether I am allowed to unmute people, but otherwise Trudy will unmute you. And we can have either a verbal question, or you can put it just in the chat and we'll go through them. Because we do the four presentations first, please make sure that you also mention who your question is directed at. So without further ado, I think we should start with Monica and the first presentation of today. And I'm actually looking very much forward to listening in. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Before we start, can I just say our presentation is actually by 3 people. So it's actually by Emma Atherton, Trish Mackey, and myself. I'll just get the slides up and I'll hand over to Trish.
Good morning, everyone, and it's wonderful to be with you this morning. So I'm Dr. Trish Mackey from the School of Social Work and Arts, and I'm joined by colleagues, Drs. Monica Short and Emma Atherton. Today we are sharing the journey of satellite intensives in social work. But firstly, we stand in solidarity, acknowledging country, paying respects to elders past, present and emerging of all First Nations peoples, and extending that respect to First Nations peoples here today. Another acknowledgement, there is so many people who've been involved in our project and who've supported us, our leadership team, other colleagues and students, and this just is to pay respect and acknowledging their contribution. This work is subject to licensing under Creative Commons, so you're free to distribute as long as you attribute the material. So Emma, over to you.
Yes, next slide. Thank you, Monica, after Creative Commons. So the purpose of this presentation is to firstly share the journey of satellite intensives and to share the research outcomes of a scoping literature review we performed on making intensives more equitable and accessible. We'll also share the research outcomes of the pilot project doing satellite intensives and share the emerging impact of this research. For example, a group work anthology, which is now an open educational resource that has just been published.
Thank you, Emma. And I'm so fortunate to be here presenting with these 2 amazing colleagues, Trish and Emma. So just to quickly let you know that what we're presenting is actually part of a very long conversation that's been happening for about 30 years. We don't have time today to actually contextualize it in that conversation, other to acknowledge that a lot of people have been having this conversation over time. And just to show you that timeline. So why do this pilot and run intensives in a satellite way? Well, actually the question should be, why not do it? So why do we do it? Well, there's many reasons, and to skim over them very quickly due to our time requirements, it ensures social inclusion, it promotes belonging and universal design principles. There's deontological and virtue ethical approaches, and they bring good reasons for doing things that meet student need. The United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 4 is very big about quality education, and that everybody has access to quality education. Also, the goal 16 about peace, justice, and strong institutions. We also talk a lot about democratizing education, having pedagogy that meets people's needs, such as the pedagogy and theology of kindness, hudagogy, where people studying actually get to direct their learning, and then Yindamara Wananana, the whole idea of creating an environment that is worth being in. There's lots of theoretical reasons, philosophical reasons, and First Nations knowledges that actually promote what we're proposing. But also we have quantitative data as well. In 2023, in one of our focus groups, 8 out of the 11 people interviewed would have left CSU social work course if not for the pilot held in a more accessible location in Canberra. All 11 of those people had explored transferring to other universities. So why wouldn't we do this? I'm now going to hand over to Emma.
So we conducted a scoping literature review to examine the question of how intensives might be made more accessible and equitable. And we addressed the following question: what does the literature published since 2019 say about how educational institutions can maximize inclusion, equity, and accessibility to intensives for social work skills-based learning? In this literature review, we uncovered 4 key themes. The first was a surprising lack of research and relatively minimal data concerning the effective ways that social work practice skills are taught and learned. The second theme we uncovered was the inaccessibility of face-to-face learning for many students, particularly for students who are multiply marginalized and students who have caring responsibilities. We also uncovered the theme of innovation, particularly since 2019 and the COVID-19 pandemic. There has been a lot of innovation and adapting to teaching and learning online and with blended approaches as well. And this includes developing new pedagogical approaches, new technologies, and innovating to enhance belonging and inclusion. And the final thing we uncovered was the online versus face-to-face debate, and several authors calling for the need to move beyond this debate and instead think about how we can grapple with blended learning and the current state of affairs with regarding to practice skills learning online and in person. On the basis of these themes, we made 3 recommendations. The first being that schools design face-to-face intensives that increase access, inclusion, and equity. The second being integrating face-to-face intensives more cohesively in otherwise online courses. And the third being conducting further research regarding the lived experience of an intensive, focusing on how intensives can be made more accessible, and further research on the role of the use of technology in intensives as well.
And moving on from that scoping review, conducting further research is exactly what we did. So in August last year, we conducted a pilot in Canberra that was held at the Australian Centre for Christianity and Culture. Intensives have been held at Wagga. So this was a first for Canberra. A cohort of 37 students enrolled in their second social work theory and practice subject agreed to participate, and we conducted focus groups and interviews post the intensive with them. And the question that we asked our participants was, from the perspective of a person studying social work, how can face-to-face skills-based intensives be universally designed to celebrate differences and maximise inclusion and accessibility? The global theme from the data highlighted the significance of the pedagogy of kindness. So that's believing in students, embodying that kindness throughout all aspects of our teaching, and universal design. You can see some quotes there from students, but the 4 themes that clustered around that global theme. The first one, improved accessibility, responsiveness, and affordability for people attending the intensive and for those for whom they care. Students want an accessible location for intensives. Canberra was more accessible and more affordable for them. The setting was responsive because they had close access to educators due to the smaller cohort. Theme 2, collaboration and belonging enabled learning. Students said that establishing those connections and sense of belonging with other students and with the educator and those relational aspects were really important for them as online students because they don't get the opportunity to talk face-to-face about their learning. They valued those emotional connections and the smaller group because that enabled kindness, collaboration, and the practicing of social work skills. Theme 3, connection to place and country. The Canberra venue was located in a place with extensive green spaces surrounded by protected Indigenous grasslands. Students had an opportunity to explore those outside areas, bushwalking, walking the labyrinth, and having small group discussions and doing their skills-based learning outside. And the fourth theme, wellbeing and life balance. Holding the intensive in Canberra and purposefully including kindness into the design assisted students with their overall wellbeing and life balance. They had more time available to them, there were reduced costs for attending, and they could return to their family, or they might have been able to bring their family with them. And all this contributed to less anxiety and anxiety. And the small group facilitated the development of those supportive, collaborative relationships with their peers, and that also enabled participation and accessibility.
Now, we've noticed already emerging impact and engagement that's occurred, and it has resulted in a pedagogical output and a pedagogical impact, which is a group work anthology. There has been limitations with this research project. It's involved self-selected group of people with an interest in seeing satellite intensives, so it's not the whole cohort. But nevertheless, we have quite a lot of quotes that are indicating positive outcomes from the pilots that have been run in Canberra. And I just would like to put a shout out for a book that we've been producing about a group work anthology, a free resource for busy practitioners, students, volunteers, and academics. And a huge thanks to the CSU librarians who've been involved with this, the students, and also the academics who got behind it. We're so fortunate to be surrounded by just such beautiful people. So thank you for sharing time with us. We look forward to questions in a minute. And can I just also say thank you to the other two co-presenters. I noticed their names aren't on the program, Trish Mackey and Emma Atherton, who are wonderful. And there's our references. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sorry, I had trouble getting on audio again. Thank you very much. That was a wonderful presentation. Please, again, put your questions in the chat, and then we'll come back after all the presentations have been finished. So if you can stop sharing your screen, which you did already, and then we can go to the second presentation, which Isabel just told us that was done by the whole SAHES First Year Experience Project Group. So I apologize that it was only Isabel that was put in, and the first presentation went under time. So let's keep up the good work, hey?
Okay. I'm going to kick us off. So thank you very much for the opportunity to come and speak to you today. I am Kim Lustig. I'm with the School of Allied Health, Exercise and Sports Science, or SAHES. I would like to reiterate the earlier acknowledgement of country. Today I'm attending from Wiradjuri country, and it's beautiful and rainy here, and it's cooled off a little bit. So really grateful for that. This is a team-based presentation discussing the first year experience working group that was established in SAHES in 2023 to support first year students in their transition to university. The working party has been led by the SAHES Associate Head of School in Learning and Teaching. The initial lead was Associate Professor Caroline Robinson, and the current lead is Dr. Isabel Patton. At the start of 2023, an expression of interest was circulated by our head of school, and interested staff were required to provide a short response outlining why they were interested in participating in this working group. The group currently consists of the members that are listed up on the slide there. Kirsty from podiatry, Penny from exercise and sports science, and Rachel, a postgraduate student representative, will also be presenting with me today. I would also like to acknowledge all of the original working party members as well. Since its establishment in 2023, the group has met every few months. Our aims have been to add value to the Charles Sturt Student Orientation Program for the first-year undergraduate and graduate entry students, to enhance student connectedness with their course, discipline, and school, to facilitate continuing support for commencing students through the first year of study, really positioning students for academic success, to improve the first year student experience, and to increase student retention and reduce attrition from SAHES courses. It's well known that the first year of study is particularly integral in reducing the causes of dropout. We have worked on a few projects so far. However, today we're going to focus on two key projects. So the first one is the development of TikTok videos in partnership with the Big Picture project at a local high school, which Kirsty will be talking through shortly. And then Rachel will talk through the success in securing a SSAF, so a Student Services and Amenities Fee grant to support the development of a podcast series. So I'm going to stop there and I'm going to hand over to Kirsty.
Thanks, Kim. So the TikTok idea was generated by current students in the first year experience working group to meet the need of improving the orientation process for new allied health students. It involved utilising a current on-trend social media platform to create fun and engaging creative media pieces that were relatable to students, encouraging and inviting them to feel a sense of belonging and success in choosing to study their course with us at Charles Sturt University. So over the past 12 months or so, I've built a partnership with the Big Picture Learning Australia team of staff and students at our local James Fallon High School, where they identified that their students had a need to fulfil meaningful project work at a social and community level to meet their learning and assessment outcomes. And so the TikTok project evolved. It was a colourful combination of our need plus theirs, mutually beneficial to all parties, and working in collaboration with Riley Rose Harper from Charles Sturt's Division of Customer Experience, SAHES showcased our allied health students and courses whilst livening up our O-Week activities. And the Big Picture students practice their skills in relationship building. They produce creative media content to meet our community's needs. The Big Picture students have reported sharing what they learned during their on-campus visit here with their teachers, their friends and their family, further initiating promotion of our courses and professions through word of mouth in our local community. And with over 80,000 social media views so far, to say this project was worth it is an understatement. This initiative showcases that by being curious in our roles, we can diversify the way we approach issue resolution in academia, which can be enhanced by working collaboratively with others. I encourage you to think about the student experience in a broader sense and be open to opportunities to create reciprocal partnerships with your industry and community to enhance engagement. So now Kim will play a small snippet of one of the videos that we created. Thanks, Kim.
I'm a podiatry student. Of course people think I'm a paediatrician.
I'm a podiatry student. Of course I loved arts and crafts in kindergarten.
I'm a podiatry student. Of course I love shoes.
I'm a podiatry student. Of course I'm receiving plenty of offers for jobs before I graduate.
I'm a podiatrist. Of course we get to use heavy machinery.
I'm a podiatry student. Of course I need to know anatomy. The knee bone's connected to the foot bone. Oh, maybe.
Look at this. Oh, perfect. Oh my God. Isn't it great? Chris. I know, it's my dream. I have goosebumps everywhere.
We're speech pathology students. Of course we wear stretchy pants so we can sit on the floor.
We're speech pathology students. Of course we had to relearn Year 3 grammar.
We're speech pathology students.
I'm a pretty boy, I'm stunning. Super speed Sonic, I'm running. Super speed Sonic, I'm running.
Thanks, Kim. I'll now hand over to Rachel Unthank, our postgraduate student representative, to showcase the student-led podcast project. Thanks, Rachel.
Thanks, Kirsty. So another way for us to address the goals of the working group was to create a student-led podcast series as a way of really engaging with potential and first-year students. So as mentioned, we applied for a SAF grant and we were fortunate enough to be successful. So far, we've recorded our first episode, which focused on the student experience of mature age students. And we are just about to record our second episode, which is for students who are required to undertake placement as part of their course. The intention of the podcast was to really showcase student experiences for students who fall outside of the standard student mould or who might be facing additional barriers to study, such as being a mature age student, being a parent, or living in a rural or remote location. We also wanted to be able to provide new and future students with advice, tips, and tricks that can really only come from the lived experience of other students in order to make studying as achievable and accessible as possible for these new and potential students. So to give you a bit of a better idea of what we cover in the podcast, we have a little sneak preview of our conversation so far. So over to you, Kim.
I really enjoyed going to university. I've grown so much as a person as well. So I haven't even finished and I've already got a permanent job.
It's the culmination of everything that you've worked so hard for. It's going to be amazing.
The way it works out is I will do my first full week of teaching and my 40th birthday will be that weekend. I'm really excited about the future and it's good to feel excited about something, having something to look forward to.
Thanks so much, Kim. I'll hand you over to Penny to finish us off.
Sorry.
It's the culmination of
Thank you, Rachel. The first year working group has also been responsible for the organisation of some other projects, including professional development sessions for SAHES staff. And the highlights include a presentation from the Equity, Diversity and Inclusion team and a presentation from SAHES staff with expertise in neurodiversity affirming practice. The purpose of these presentations has been to raise the awareness of current practices that we can implement into our teaching pedagogy, as well as the support systems available to help staff along the way. The group has also assisted with the organisation of SAHES welcome morning teas, orientation videos and Instagram reels, and introduction videos delivered to prospective and first year students, especially during key times of the year, such as orientation week or return to session. Sorry, Kim, next slide. So this group does plan to continue developing and implementing projects to improve engagement with first year students with the aim to improve the first year experience as well as student retention in the SAHES disciplines. So thank you all for listening and we welcome any questions, comments and ideas for future projects.
Well, thank you for this presentation. That was really fun, actually, and great ideas for other courses, I would say, as well, and within time. So I didn't have to interrupt, which I quite like. Sorry, I'm a bit sort of, oh, that's my time. I'm a bit sort of still thinking about all these different things you showed me. Let's go to the third presentation by Doa Hanafi about the microsession model of teaching in a medical science course, which I think that course could do with a few TikTok videos as well. Thank you, Doa. Floor is all yours.
Thank you. Just opening the chat so I can see and sorry. I cannot check the chat, so okay. Thank you. My name is Doa, and I'm presenting today a project that has been supported by the Teaching Academy, so grant from the Teaching Academy in 2023. This project is actually led by Boris Bediono, but he couldn't be here today. So as I'm a team member, so I'm presenting today. And this project is about boosting retention, satisfaction, and success in a unique mode of teaching. This is the micro-session model of learning. And this is a cross-sectional survey of both the students and staff. So we were interested in an approach where we investigate both the thoughts and opinions from students and staff from the first year up through to the final year. Yes, we have the subject experience survey, but actually the result of this survey is having a limited access to specific stuff. So we wanted something that can be shared by students and staff, all students and staff. And we're interested in this macro session model of teaching that is especially offered to Bachelor of Medical Laboratory Science in Pathology. So what is the idea about the micro session? This is actually teaching subjects in 6 8-week blocks. So a 4-year degree is condensed into 3.5 years. And to do this, only 2 subjects are offered per micro session. And these subjects cover only the theory, and the practicals are taught in only 1 block at the end of each year. However, there are no mid-session breaks, no breaks between sessions, and we wanted to understand our student population. We wanted to understand the demographics, the motivation that led them to study this course, and whether there were facilitators or barriers that they experienced during their study. So with this concept, we thought that the best way to achieve this is to survey both the staff and the students about how they feel about the macro session and the elements that were great in their course or their subject or the class. So how we implemented this, it was through having a design phase, then applying for the ethics, and after the approval, we rolled out the survey, and then we analyzed the data, and now we are in the presentation phase. And this whole experience has been really wonderful, especially for myself and Boris being new in the learning and teaching research. So it was really great to have this support from the Teaching Academy. And our team actually is a diverse team. So we had an undergraduate student working as a research assistant. We have early to mid-career researchers and actually learning and teaching leaders. So with this experience and expertise, we thought about designing a simple actually study. So from previous experience in our group, we found that very long surveys that are complicated, that take 2 hours actually for completing or so, they cause fatigue to the participants, not easy to analyze the data, not easy to publish and all those stuff. So the main purpose was to have a simple study to be able to build a rapport with the students and the staff members. We did seek advice. We piloted the study. And then how we analyzed data, it was through actually delegation. So we were all busy teaching the micro sessions, having other research, and being involved in like grant applications or so. So like we set goals, we wanted to analyze the data before presenting in a conference, for example, or so. So we designed like a shared document, and then everyone can update and work upon. And we were lucky having mentors by the senior leaders, especially in learning and teaching. And this actually gave us the opportunity to expand. So we have presented in a national conference. We have presented to accrediting bodies, and now we are presenting here in CSEdX. So the methods that we have used, we were depending upon a cross-sectional survey, an online survey spread to both staff and students to collect the demographical information. And there were two types of questions, the Likert scale questions, from very agree to very disagree. And we were looking at the satisfaction and the overall learning and teaching experience. And the second type of question was the open-ended question. And these were analyzed thematically. So these are some examples of the Likert questions that were the same for both staff and the students. So we were having like 1 for strongly disagree, 5 for strongly agree, and we were interested about knowing if staff and the students feel that the course is well organized, how they feel about the assessments, if they were clear and fair, if the micro-session format, which is teaching in 8 weeks only, is better than the conventional semester, like the 16-week session format, if the quality of education is equivalent in both formats, the overall satisfaction, if they were able to maintain work-life balance, and if the course can be improved. And these are examples of the open-ended questions. So how they felt about the micro session that was good, how it can be improved, and the 3 biggest barriers. So coming to the results, so for the students, we had a decent response rate, and the majority of the students are working actually full-time. The study mode is distance, so online, and they live in regional area. And actually what attracted students to this program is mainly the professional development and career advancement. So actually, as I've mentioned, most of them are working already. So they work in a hospital, in pathology lab, and actually they wanted to go upper in the rank, to advance in their career. So they can do this by having a bachelor degree. And actually, also, some of the students are already interested in the field of pathology, interested in knowing more about disease. Also, this course is accredited by an accrediting body, the Australian Institute of Medical and Clinical Scientists, AIMS accreditation, which is really helpful for their career advancement. So that also attracted the students to study this course. And this is a flexible course, so it is offered online and distance. So they come to the campus only once per year to do the practicals. So the benefits from the students' point of view mainly was the flexibility of the course, so being online, having recorded lectures, for example, or so not bounded to the timetabling or so, and the staff adaptation that was a benefit for the students, so they were able to adapt it to the shorter term of covering the content. Staff diversity actually was also a benefit for students. So students actually like that we have different types of lectures. So some are teaching focus, some are teaching and research, and some actually coming from the industry. Some have been working in pathology labs for 20 or 30 years, so they can get benefit from their experience. Students also like that it's being an online course, and there were suitable assessment items for this micro session, and staff approachability. The main barrier for success from the students is the lack of breaks. So they also have they couldn't maintain the work-life study balance, canned content. Some students thought that no issues at all, and also chronic illness with the short time frame. They cannot have this type of if there is any like there is no extension, there is no time, if they feel that they should keep going because there is no break and the short time frame.
You need to speed up a bit.
Okay, so students acknowledged that there were challenges to the intensive mode of teaching in micro session, but felt it was worth the trade-off so they can graduate earlier. From the staff point of view, we had a high response rate, so majority of them thought that the micro session is equivalent to the conventional session. Teaching flexibility was the main benefit actually, and the main barrier was like the students, so the lack of breaks, overlapping sessions, and the disconnect with the theory and practical. So the theory component can be covered early in the year in January, then the pracs are covered by the end of the year in November. So this disconnect. And actually, staff had concern of overloading students in this intensive format, increasing the likelihood of fatigue. So staff reported making adaptation to improve class participation and retention, but they were concerned that there was not enough time to teach content effectively. So mainly it was like assessment focused, not content focused. So students were very positive of the micro session, although the program can be stressful, but they felt it has certain advantages, and the staff were not as positive actually. So it was really stressful, and they question if this model prevents educators from doing their best. So our study provides unique insight in both the student and the staff population, highlighting the needs and priorities that they value. And the intensive format actually still meet the standards. So we were successfully getting the accreditation from AIMS earlier this year. And this learning technique enable more flexibility for both the students and staff. So actually, this is here presenting in the National Conference for Medical Scientists, and publication is in the process, hopefully will be released next year. And actually, from the results of this study, so course improvement can be done. So now we are more cautious about the requirements for staff and students. Thank you.
Thank you, Dewa. You sped up in the end, so that was good. Let's go to the last presentation of Susie Quarel, and I again hope I pronounce your surname correctly. Unmasking the future of caring for older people. Susie, you can share your screen, and the floor is all yours.
Okie dokie, great. Thanks so much for allowing me to present today on behalf of my research team. So I'm coming to you from my family's country of the Dakingyung people. So thank you so much for everybody acknowledging country today. So it's always hard coming to you at the end of a session when we've had so many great presentations. So really thanks to the presenters before me. I can't go on without acknowledging our research team of Pauletta Owen, Deb McGee, and Hannah Stack for their amazing support and teamwork throughout this project as well. So we all know that Australia's population continues to age, and the healthcare sector faces an increasing demand for professionals well equipped to care for older adults. Unfortunately, ageism and a lack of exposure to older populations amongst students can undermine care quality. Our project has been focusing on creating an educational resource using mask-ed vignette videos designed to promote clinical safety and quality, enhance clinical readiness, improve communication skills, promote empathy, and address attitudes toward older adults among students in nursing, paramedicine, and medicine. So we've included some previews of these vignettes, but I just for the facilitation of today's session, they have been muted, so you won't be hearing any sound other than my hopefully dulcet tones as we go through. So mask-ed is a globally used simulation modality in a tertiary level health education. It involves educators using silicone body props and masks to take on the persona of a character. These characters have unique personalities, speaking voice, non-verbal traits, and a consistent style of dress and grooming, providing a lifelike and engaging educational experience. By interacting with these characters, our students gain valuable exposure to realistic scenarios that promote not only technical skills, but also empathy, resilience, and cultural awareness. MaskEd characters are extremely versatile and can be used in synchronous and asynchronous learning environments. As you can see in the video, and the educator, Deb, has transformed into the character of Constance Smythe. Constance is brought to life in these vignettes. She is a live wire, resilient, fiercely independent, and a proud member of the LGBTIQA+ community. With her previous experience as a registered nurse, she brings both personal and professional depth to her interactions with students. This rich background fosters engagement as students can relate to her in ways that transcend traditional simulation. The project began with an awareness of the need for intense collaboration, a reference group to provide feedback on the developed scenarios, which evaluated the script's authenticity, and to ensure representation from all disciplines was conceived. However, due to scheduling challenges, independent feedback had to be sought from each discipline. Despite this, the input from various professional perspectives enriched the content and helped ensure that the videos would resonate across different fields. The team gathered on Port Macquarie campus over 3 days in January 2024. This location was chosen for filming, not only for its security and availability of equipment, but also to minimise travel for all of those involved. We used various campus locations with a focus on simulated learning environments, creating a safe and realistic backdrop for the scenarios. Throughout filming, the well-being of the crew, especially for Deb in her role as Constance, was a top priority. Wearing the mask and other props was physically demanding, so we ensured frequent breaks and consistently monitored her comfort. These breaks also provided valuable time for the team to reflect on progress, discuss adjustments, and refine our approach for subsequent scenes. Following the production and editing phase, the videos are now being used in undergraduate subjects in nursing and paramedicine. Embedded in the LMS, the videos are used in tutorial activities for online and on-campus students, centering on the development of communication skills that enhance relationships with colleagues and patients. The videos are compatible in subjects with diverse learning outcomes, such as Introduction to Medical Emergencies, a second-year paramedicine subject, and Workplace Learning number 1, a first-year nursing subject. In order to evaluate the effectiveness of the videos as a resource, we've recently collected feedback to further inform the utilisation of the videos and potentially the development of additional learning resources featuring the star of the show, Constance. Initial findings suggest that undergraduate students have a strong understanding and appreciation of the older person in Australia, thankfully. Most agree that there is discrimination toward the older adult in the community as a whole, with ageist themes including being too old to participate in society, health professionals' avoidance of sharing negative information for fear of an emotional response from this person, and that offering assistance, whilst helpful, may not be necessary. Thus, the older person should be allowed to decline the offer without fear of retribution. Between the pre and post survey, the results discovered students' recognition of avoiding preconceptions regarding communication with older adults, like speaking too slowly and being repetitive. Thankfully, all respondents agreed that older people were indeed not a drain on the healthcare system or the economy. A peer-reviewed paper for publication is also being developed by the team that will discuss the project along with some more analysis of this data. So whilst there are many benefits to working in an interdisciplinary team, it has its challenges too. We came together as a team who had largely never worked together before, so we did have some teething problems that were not too dissimilar to a clinical practice environment. knowledge of our own professional roles was quite clear, then we had to navigate how we would work well together to get the best patient outcomes. And in this case, the best student outcomes. This was most prominent when we were writing the scripts. So by the end of this stage, we had developed a level of comfort with each other and a camaraderie that resulted in ensuring the key messages for each profession were highlighted. Fitting in with the timelines of such a diverse group, or with differing responsibilities within the school and life in general, was yet another hurdle to overcome. A hot tip for future researchers is to consider your budget. The bulk of our funding, thanks to the Teaching Academy, was used for the time and expertise of our MaskEd character. We relied heavily upon the pre-approved in-kind support from the media team, where we hadn't considered the need for accommodation and travel costs for the stars of the show. We had originally planned for the recording to occur in Bathurst. However, when we considered the facilities in Port Macquarie, complemented by the expertise of Gareth in the media team, we made the decision to move locations. This required additional support from our school, which we were extremely grateful for. You know who you are. It is also important to have an understanding of how our incentives will work. To compensate students for their involvement, physical gift cards had to be purchased in accordance with university policy. Having a physical gift card, though, meant that we had to pay for postage. This was not accounted for in the original allocation, but luckily we were able to adjust and reallocate some funds. A major positive of this project has been across campus collaborative opportunities. Our team's dynamics are exceptional, with meetings that are both productive and enjoyable, fostering a supportive atmosphere. This synergy has opened avenues for impactful future projects. Interdisciplinary collaboration has been another highlight. By working with colleagues across multiple campuses and health disciplines, we embrace diverse perspectives that can enhance patient care within the healthcare system. This collaboration enriched our knowledge as both academics and clinicians. The project serves as an excellent teaching tool that optimises student learning outcomes across various subjects by influencing behaviours in real-world settings. It allows us to model professional behaviour and demonstrate good work etiquette, providing students with clear examples to aspire to. Additionally, this teaching tool promotes strategies about ageism. As we know, for example, Constance's diverse background, including her identification within the LGBTIQA+ community and experience as a registered nurse. Our approach not only guides our students toward professional excellence, but also helps them become empathetic individuals ready to make a difference. So the MaskEd project has been a powerful addition to our teaching toolkit. It has allowed us to create a resource that goes beyond knowledge transfer to inspire empathy, professionalism, and inclusivity in our future healthcare providers. Through Constance, we've been able to foster a holistic approach to care that prepares students not only to excel clinically, but to engage meaningfully with their patients as people. We hope that Constance, as well as the spirit of interdisciplinary collaboration that made this project possible, will leave you with some new ideas and insights to bring to your own practice. We look forward to seeing the positive impact Constance and MaskEd can have on the next generation of healthcare professionals, and are keen to see her become a more permanent resident on campus, maybe social media, someone that students can recognise as well as relate and respond to. So thanks so much for the opportunity to present our project at CSEdX, and that's it from me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Susie. That was really interesting as well. All four presentations were really interesting. If you stop sharing your screen, Susie, then I'll share mine. We're basically in the question in the, what am I doing here? We're basically in the question business, if you can see that now. And I was wondering if anyone had any questions for a specific person or presentation. Because I do realize all the presentations are for multiple people. And I'm thinking you can take yourself off mute. So let me start off then. I had one question for the first presentation about how many incentives are in your course, intensive, sorry, are in your course. And if you do this satellite intensive in a different place, you probably need resources, staff, space, etc. And how does that actually work with our new teaching efficiency goals?
Yeah, great question. And you're right, there is resources come into play. We have 4 intensives across the social work course. We have an intensive for each of our theory and practice subjects. And there's they're each 5 days. So across the life of the course, 20 days overall. So the way we're working resources, obviously we've got to fit in with, workloads, etc. But we've got staff that are being located in like Canberra, for example. So Monica and myself have been located in Canberra, so there's been no requirements for travel for us. And I know the school has, supported academics. Like next year, we're looking at having intensives in Sydney, and the school's looking at supporting academics going to Sydney, and also relying on academics who are based in Sydney to assist with those intensives. So it is resource intensive, but we're listening to our students. They're saying they want us to be more accessible to them and to provide intensives closer to where they live. And if you're coming from Perth or Tasmania, it's a huge cost factor to come, for a 5-day sort of period. So we're trying to be more responsive to our cohort overall. So Monica, did you want to add to that, or Emma?
So I'll just add that the cost in terms of, if we were to do the calculations on the number of students who are looking at other institutions, we're much better off if we actually are flexible and go to where there are pockets of students. So we're in an environment that's hotly competitive. So in Canberra, for example, a new social work school has just started up. They are immensely competitive, very eager to take students from other universities and allow them to transfer over. So yeah, we need to either be more responsive or accept that we're going to have problems with retention. The other thing is for us, we have to have a number of staff for the students. So in some ways, the costs are the same, because regardless of whether they're here or whether they're in one location, we have to have the similar number. And in some ways, there's some savings, because we're now being able to bring in staff based, because we've got a footprint, a national footprint in their locations, so you don't have to pay as much travel. So it depends which economic formula you're going to use to determine whether it's worthwhile or not.
Okay, thank you for that answer. Riley, you have a question?
Oh, thank you. Great presentations, everyone. I just put it in the chat. Like, I really love all the work that you're doing, and I'm loving this balance, between like face-to-face interaction and online. But ultimately, I see it as collaborative, interdisciplinary, face-to-face. And do you agree that we need the university to invest more in these practices so that they could be rolled out more broadly? And is that something that, I don't know, we're collectively doing as academics, or need to do, I guess?
One thought in response to that, so speaking more to the research we uncovered in the scoping review, there is there is some research suggesting that yes, the university needs to invest more in these kind of practices to improve retention, but particularly sort of the ethos underlying university investment needs to shift to better accommodate the fact that there is blended learning. So to sort of actually make we exist in a world of blended learning now, and to actually make that work, there needs to be more integration between the face-to-face and online components. There needs to be more investment from universities in giving students more equitable access to technologies and more equitable training in technologies, and also a sort of regarding the labor of academics involved in the online teaching space as serious labor, rather than sort of pretending that labor isn't as serious as face-to-face teaching. So yeah, there's certainly, from the pre-existing research, there is the suggestion that there needs to be greater investment and greater understanding of what is being invested in and why, and sort of valuing that investment appropriately. But I suspect Monica or Trish can speak to, your firsthand sort of experiences running an intensive like this, and the investment that you think universities need to put into it as well.
Yeah, thank you for that. Are there any other questions that are popping up?
Can I just come in quickly on that important point that Emma's just explained so beautifully? The other thing is if we're preparing people for real life experiences and the real world, and we want to be able to connect with our industry partners and communities, we need to look like what they look like, and what they look like is blended. So if we eradicate face-to-face and preference, for example, online, then our students become less attractive in terms of employability. If at the same time we eradicate face-to-face, eradicate online, then, for example, in all the type of telehealth modalities that are emerging, our students are not employable. So we need both, and we need to do both extremely well.
Thanks, Monica. I had a question about the TikTok videos. I don't have TikTok, so I wouldn't. I know what they look like. How do you how do I say that? How do you market these videos? How do you get people to actually watch them? Do they enroll to a certain stream of TikTok, or do they just randomly pop up? And then how you make sure that the people that see them are potential CSU students and are not people in America or Europe?
Thanks, Wouter, for that question. I could probably speak to that because I really led that little project within our working group. It's funny, I didn't have TikTok either when I started. The students had it. It was their idea. The idea came from the students. So essentially, yes, you do need to download the application on your phone or on your desktop or whatever, and sign up and get an account. CSU already have an account, so we were able to use that. In terms of displaying the TikTok video at orientation, I mean, we had an audience there live, and we just put the video up, and that's how we saw, a lot of people saw it there. But I guess that probably sparked a lot of people to actually join the account too, and follow CSU, and then through that there's been views. And we actually, with the help of Riley Rose from the Division of Customer Service, she actually helped to break up the videos to smaller little snippets, because as we know these days, people like short snippets of things. Their attention span's quite small. So she actually broke them up into, there was a podiatry one, there was a speech one, and lots of little things. So that number, that 80,000 that we sort of come up, that's a collaborative number of all of them together. And really, you can't, once it's on the application, you can't really only have CSU people following it. You do get people from other universities following, but I actually think that's really amazing. And you'll get, future students following along as well. So it's great for course promotion. One of the podiatry students that was involved actually came up to me and said, "Oh, that was a fantastic thing to be involved in. I've reconnected with people from school that have found me on TikTok." So I just thought, how great to promote our courses in that way and just get the word out there. And yeah, it's a funny application, but I think, we just kind of worked with it, and it worked.
No, I think it's great to have a more broad audience than just CSU. I think that's actually the whole idea, that you get people in high school watching these videos and think, oh, that's really cool. Let's enroll, or let's see if I can enroll. So yeah, great idea.
Yeah, thank you.
it's 11:30, which I think finishes our session. But if there's any questions, any more questions that are urgent, I've got a few, but I'll talk to the presenters, or yeah, I'll get the answers one way or another. So that's okay. I would like to thank all the presenters for really, yeah, that was really good. I really enjoyed that, and that's just, I can only speak for myself. But I'm assuming that everyone really enjoyed that, and thank you all for the wonderful work and the wonderful presentation of your work, because it was good. It was really good. Thank you very much.